Hey, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Yeah. We're back on another episode of the podcast, Impossible Truths, man. Welcome back. Hey, we talk about evolution today in a lot of different aspects. I know I really want to talk about film because I feel like that movies are just not the same. Shows aren't the same. They're a lot different. Even like, it's crazy. I'm Ubering now, right? So I just took somebody to Marcus Theater in the Heights. And I haven't been to Marcus Theater in the Heights probably, it was before the pandemic. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a long time. But even now, a lot of movies, you ain't gotta go to the movie theater really to see them no more. If you give it a solid month, it'll be out on your favorite streaming platform. It'll be out on HBO Max. It'll be out on your Disney movies. Will be out on Disney Plus in 3 months.
Sometimes
if it even take that long.
Yeah, I mean, who was it? Was it Madam Web or which movie was? No, it was Black Widow maybe. I don't remember which movie. One of the movies, literally, the same day the movie came out.
It was available on the streaming
platform? It was available on Disney Plus or whatever it was. And whoever, I can't remember, I think it might have been Scarlett Johansson with Black Widow. She was mad. I think she sued. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure she sued because, that a part, a portion of her money. A large portion of her money she's going to be getting was from the box office. So when you put it on the streaming platform, why would I go spend overpriced food at the theaters? You know what I'm saying? Drive over there when I can just pull it up on Disney Plus.
Probably.
And most likely nowadays, everybody got a flat screen TV and stuff like that. So
probably because they thought that movie was going to be garbage.
That's tough, but no, that's real. Hey, you know what's crazy? Box office they be destroying movies. When you look up you ever looked up an Eddie Murphy film in box office?
Yep.
They always do bad. They never do good. Ever. And it'd be to us some of our favorite
millions, but they say it's bad.
They say it's bad. It's Rotten Tomatoes like almost 78%. It's what? That's a bad movie in box office for real.
But I'll say this. This crazy we even having this conversation just yesterday. We were riding home after church, and I was telling one of my sons, I was like, I remember the time where, and I'm saying I remember the time, it was just 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Where, if you wanted to go out on a date with a young lady, you can go to two places. Then these two places are not private anymore. And that's the mall and the movie theater. And these days, you can't take a girl out to the mall or to the movie theater.
Nope.
Not that you can't take them to the movie theater, but it's just so... They are dying.
Yeah,
They're dying.
They are.
Movie theaters are dying.
Yeah, the mall already.
It's dead. You saw River Oaks? You
see the land for Lincoln Mall?
Oh yeah,
bro.
Fort City,
straight wasteland.
It's sad.
Fort City got tumbleweed all over.
Yep.
It's a whole era ending in front of our eyes.
Yep.
Because now the mall is Shein.
Amazon.
Shein. Which one is it?
I think it's Shein.
Shein.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
something else.
All of the one that's popular for Fashion Nova.
I love Fashion Nova.
I do too.
I love it. I love Shein. Shein. Boohoo-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But these things,
they took over.
They took over. So now we just, and it's not even just that. It's clothes. It'd be like the clothes you want.
Yeah.
Clothes that you want, that you would say, I have to go to this particular store and hope that they got that particular thing. Whereas you could just get online and whatever it is you want. They got it.
Especially for I know even in my experience, someone that's a taller man, in the store, we struggle finding my size and stuff in the store. And y'all I remember y'all nah, they might got it. All right, you know what I'm saying? We were struggling.
Yeah,
big and tall section.
You gotta hear them say, we ain't got your size at this store, but the store on the other side of town probably has it. So
now you had that experience too, haven't you, Josiah?
Oh yeah, I'm
trying to get suits and stuff like
that.
that.
You know what? I'm gonna just go up there tomorrow. I ain't finna deal with
And they say, oh, well, their online has it. So it's like, why would I go to the store when I can just order online? And shoes too. Shoes, they go all the way up to 12 and a half.
So you just took the words right out of my mouth. Like I remember I went to the mall and it was a specific shoe that I was looking for. This is when I really was getting into my job for the first time, and I would start making a little bit more money. And I was like, I'm gonna go, to the mall and buy. And I don't really shop for myself too much either. So it's like that's kind of taken away. Like, different things that people do, like to kind of treat themselves. I'm not saying that shopping online is not really a treat, but you definitely don't get the same, like, I guess you would say dopamine from it. Like just getting up and going somewhere and looking for a specific thing for those who like to do stuff like that. I went to a store and I was looking for a particular shoe that they said that they had in store and they just didn't have it. And then I went online and it was like on the listing, it was like 12 different stores that had like so many of that shoe that I was looking for that I bought all of my shoes online and I was prepared to go to the store, but I just didn't have to do that. And then it turned into a thing where it's like now, you don't have to go to the store for nothing. You want groceries? Instacart.
Instacart.
You can go ahead and
Get your
Instacart.
groceries on DoorDash.
You can get your groceries on DoorDash now.
Yes, you can.
That's crazy. Yeah, like you don't really have to leave your house.
I would say that. Go ahead.
What you gonna say? Go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say that with all this great advancement, and it is wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's wonderful, convenient.
Mm-hmm.
With all of that great advancement, social life is changing.
Yeah.
And dare I say, not changing for the better.
Yeah.
And somebody might try to counteract that and say, well, I don't know how you can say social life is changing. I don't know how you can say social life is changing and not for the better. We have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and all that. And so we engage virtually. Well, here's the thing, the difference with that. On any social site, you can be whatever you decide you want to be. And most of the time, what we try to portray ourselves to be on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, they call Twitter no more.
X.
I
hate that.
Threads.
Yep.
What we try to portray ourselves to be on those things is not us for real.
Nah, it's not.
Yeah.
So people are not meeting people for real.
Yeah.
They're not. Not the way we was when we was going to the mall.
Yeah.
Not the way we was when we was going to the bowling alley, skating rink, and theaters. And I'm not trying to be a whole
like an old person.
Guy that's like so not into innovation and things growing and things maturing.
Not connected and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be that. I'm not trying to be no prehistoric guy. Not at all. I'm always about forward movement and advancement.
Evolution. What we talking about?
I'm all about that. But what I'm also about is make sure that we don't lose core values, key principles in the process of our growth.
Yeah.
And the process of our acceleration.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I believe that's true.
That's
definitely true. Like, I remember going back and watching, if y'all haven't watched this movie, there's people that don't like anime movies, and animated movies be telling stories galore. Like, it's crazy the way they go in depth. I was watching WALL-E, and WALL-E is like the present day.
I gotta go back and watch that.
Everybody, if you ain't watched, has everybody in here seen WALL-E? All right, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil for everybody, but if you haven't seen it, sorry. But
this is your chance to fast forward.
Yeah, it's your chance to fast forward. But in the movie, like at some point, or it's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic style in a sense where everybody pretty much has left the Earth, and WALL-E is the only. He's like a robot that's on Earth. And they sent a robot from the new planet that the rest of the world was on, the humans, was on, and it was called Eve. And WALL-E, somehow, later on in the story, ends up going to the planet and finds out that Eve is not the only Eve. It's a bunch of Eves. But not only that, the whole world that he knew was on this other planet, and they're not walking around. Everybody is in, like, not wheelchairs, they're like hover like little hovercrafts, but their own individual, and they all got screens in front of them. So whatever they need, they want to order food, they can order the food, just hit a button, and it'll take them straight there to where they need to go. And everybody is overweight and obese, and it's just crazy. Like the way that everything is going on, it's like, dang, like we inching our way to what's in that movie. Like as time is going on, I mean, my own car has a self-drive feature where you don't have to drive the car at all. You say where you want to go, and it'll, without fail, it will take you to where you want to go, and you don't even have to touch the wheel. You can be chilling, sitting there, and don't have to do anything.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you. So it's like, when you think about that, and you go and see that film, it's like, dang, like that movie came out in the early 2000s. I think it was before the 2010s, and we in 2024. And now everything that we think about, even when we think about children, like there's a whole stigma saying like iPad kids, the kids that just you can be 25 like myself and not really know how to work your phone, and then a 4-year-old to come and do everything on your phone for you. That's evolution.
Evolution,
but it's in a sense like it's got negative aspect. Yeah, it's a cost. Let's just say that it comes with a cost. Yeah. Boy, that's so true.
Yeah.
So you just be on the E-way, just...
You can. It's so crazy, but you literally can. You can just be on the expressway.
So when you you on your way to work, you just have the car drive itself, and you just get your quick little nap in while it's on the expressway driving you.
Well, I don't do that. I would never do that. And I wouldn't advise anybody to do that, just because. I mean, I remember seeing a video of a dude that the police followed him. They just wanted to see how long that they was gonna follow him before he realized that they were behind him. And they followed him, and then they finally pulled up on the side, and this dude was asleep. I'm talking about sleep, like gone. Like you have to like shake him and wake him up, sleep. And they finally pulled him up and was like, dude, like we've been following you for like over like a mile and a half, almost 2 miles. Lights on and everything. You just never pulled over. And he was just sitting there, his eyes was bloodshot red because he was asleep. He couldn't even get away from it. So all of these things are crazy, man. Like, we really think about evolution and just like where we are right now, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Piggyback off, like we were talking about with the iPad kids or whatever, like even in gaming, even not as far back, not even as far into kids, like I'm talking just a few years, like because not as much you, like my generation, like my age group, like 2002, I was born 2002. You know, I'm 22 for anybody watching. So I was born right on the edge between when technology really started booming and still growing up with a lot of the old things that y'all grew up with, like same TV shows, same like going outside and riding bikes, doing like regular stuff that was done during the 90s. I grew up with the same thing. I was on that brim. But when you go to like just a few years later, like 3, 4, 5 years, it's a whole new shift because iPod's out. Like I didn't grow up with an iPod. I grew up with a Game Boy, a PSP, DS. 5 years later, dudes not really gonna be playing that. They're playing. They have full-blown iPods that you can go on YouTube now. You can go. You can go on Instagram and all these different things. Go on Google, all these different things. It just a 5-year difference is a big change. So
it is.
Now I'm playing games like Valorant or just any game, like really competitive games. I'm 22 and there's people that are like 16. And to talk about the cost aspect of it, they're way more advanced. Like their reaction times, just overall, they're just better at video games naturally because they grew up with technology in a different way. And that's just a few year difference. These dudes are just a few years younger than me. It just they grew up with better stuff. Like I grew up with a PS1. They've grown up with PS3s. It's just they're growing up with better technology is better the way they started off. So and then now it gets to the point, now they're so good at these games, their life becomes these games because they're so good, and it comes at a cost. Now they don't know how to interact with talking to other people. There are a lot of people who are awkward a lot of people who are acting certain, like just different,
Wow.
doing a lot of different things.
Disconnected.
You know, even outside of being
Wow.
really intelligent and good at video games, they're just socially awkward and they don't know themselves because their whole life is revolving around technology.
I would say that, and I know some of you that's watching. He talking about how some grew up with PS3, he grew up with PS1. Some of y'all that's watching, internet wasn't even around.
It wasn't.
Some of y'all.
It
What no internet?
Mm.
Oh man, some of y'all remember the Nintendo days.
Yep.
But you know, I love what you just said because even like talking about the Nintendo days, you know, you had the stuff that was in the house, but back, some years back, you had to go to an arcade
Yeah.
to go and
I
play.
experienced that.
You know what I'm saying? And that was still social because you and your friends gathered
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
somewhere and meet and kick it and play and meet up, you know. And again, I don't want to take that away from
That era that we in
the
now.
social aspect that's
Yeah.
even in our era.
Yeah.
You two met
Online.
online,
Yeah.
New Jersey and Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
And so I don't take nothing away from that.
Yeah, it can do
because
great things.
It can do amazing things. You know, so some of the guys that grew up and was going to arcades was meeting people that lived around the block, lived the next town over. And these days we can meet people, become friends with folks that's across the country.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I think
Yeah.
it's dope.
It is
I
amazing.
think it's dope. I truly think it's dope. But it does go back again to that socially awkward type thing.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of that now with, they're really not millennials, Gen Z, I think.
Yeah. It's
Gen-
Gen Z. It's
Gen
Gen
Z.
Z.
There was a new one,
And there's a new one now.
Something
Gen
like that.
Alpha. I
Gen
think.
Alpha
Alpha.
is the next.
Yeah, I think it's called that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I didn't even know that, but that's what
yeah,
it's called.
it is,
It
it
is
is.
called.
So you know, we got people who are meeting other folks across the country from online. I think that's dope. And then you got the people who met people, you know, back in the older days, going to arcades or whatever, and meeting people on the block. But what we see different between those two eras is the higher rate of socially awkward Gen Z and Gen Alpha people.
Yeah.
You know, kids, young adults, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to take note about.
Yeah.
Because there's a lacking in how to interact one-on-one physically, like being in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
There's some lacking with that because people are used to looking at a screen. And let's talk about this too. How safe is it to really be looking at screens all day?
All day.
Yeah.
Yeah, physically.
Like, I really want to know what y'all think about that. What do you think about looking at a screen all day? And I don't think again, I'm not trying
Just say what you feel.
I'm not trying to make anything bad or evil. I love my phone. I love my TVs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but how often should we be tied to the screen like that?
Go ahead.
Honestly, because even going into sleep, we all know sleep is probably the top 3 most important things for a human being.
Yeah, it is.
So most of us, even me, I need to watch something to go to sleep at this point. I can't just lay down and go to sleep. I can't do that. Put my mom or anybody from the older generation, they like, I'm going to bed, they lay down, they gone. I can't do that. I need to watch something. I need to put something on.
Well, hey, Jay, if they have a TV in their room, cut it off to go to sleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
That's how they do
That's
it.
how they do it.
Like, I can't do that anymore, you know. So
You ain't the only one.
yeah, so it's very important to get your sleep is so important, and when you are watching something, it's not good to watch something before you go to sleep. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it affects your was it melatonin? What is that? What is your sleep thing? I think
Yeah.
it's like the sleep chemical, or whatever.
Yes.
Like, so when you're supposed to get before you go to sleep, you gotta have no screen time for a certain amount of time,
So your
and
body can regulate.
so so it can start producing that.
Mm.
LED lights, you're not really supposed to have that. Like, you have to be in pure darkness. So when you're in pure darkness, that's when it starts to put in that melatonin. Like, okay, your body's telling you, all right, now it's time to go to sleep. But we got all these lights on. You got
that
a
might be
big
the reason
screen.
why a lot of people, they might get 8 hours of sleep and still wake up tired.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Because your body's still saying, like, I mean, you got, like, even like sounds. Like, you got a loud TV, like, sound in your ears. Like, it's affecting your body in a certain way.
I said something to somebody earlier that I was giving a ride to, doing an Uber ride for, and they were asking me about my car, and I was like, the car is very similar to, like, how our bodies are. Like, if we, if you going for 8 hours, you know what I'm saying, on the car, eventually it's gonna need to charge at some point. You know what I'm saying? Because the battery is gonna be depleted, and if you always are just driving it and then so there's a supercharging thing now. Superchargers, they make the battery percentage go up faster than if you were putting on a regular charger. It's just a regular standard charger. But what happens is over time that actually messes up your battery too. Superchargers so much because your battery is like overworking itself all the time. If all you're doing is supercharger, it's just being overworked all the time. And our bodies are that same way. Like, if we are not, I like to think personally, and it's crazy because evolution feeds into that very heavy too. Like, people, I would like to believe in past times. I remember my dad coming in and saying, "You want to go to sleep? You cut that TV off. How you gonna go to sleep? You got TV on. Even if you're not looking at it. And what he meant was, how's your body gonna set itself up to know it's time to go to bed if it's something that's just actively in your ear, or there's a light that's just on flashing at you that is taking your attention? Like, it's literally telling your body, oh, not yet, you a couple more minutes. And then your body, eventually what happens to us, watching something, you just doze off. But I don't think it's necessarily, our bodies are even meant to just doze off like that. I think our bodies are meant to be prepared to go to sleep. Like even like the way that, like, you set up babies. Like, you gotta sometimes you gotta rock them so that they know it's time to go to sleep. There's certain things you gotta do for a baby to prepare them and let them know. And the truth of the matter is, we talk about evolution, is over time there's certain things that we learned when we was kids that it worked. It just was real. Like, when we went to school and they had us eating at a certain time for breakfast, they had us eating at a certain time for lunch, and specific things sometimes too. And there was a certain time the dinner was made, and there was a certain time in most households that it was time to go to bed. My dad had a bedtime song. When he hit 10 o'clock, bedtime, it's time to go to bed. That's what that meant. And I think that, like, now our minds, especially we talking about the youth, like our younger generations, there's nothing that's really, like, outside of a parent or anything like that, there's no call to action for us mentally to prepare ourselves for our days. So, like, to wake up and having, like, a sleep schedule so your body can regulate itself, so you're not all groggy and irritated when you wake up. You got to do with the food that you eat and stuff like that too, but more so just about preparation, like really preparing yourself and laying it down. Like, that's really crazy to think about. That melatonin you just said, I think that has a lot to do with, like, I know personally, like, I'm not really a morning person, and it's not like to fit the stigma, morning person. It's like, no, like, really, when I wake up in the morning, I'd be like,
it's a domino effect. I got a couple it's a domino effect. Like, I feel
that's
like
why I used to work graveyards, man. That's why I used to work them graveyard shifts, because I know I'm not a morning person.
Yeah. It's like, and I feel like evolution doesn't always mean it has to be a positive thing. It could be a negative impact too. Because, like, for example, like, they say, I don't know how true this is, but I heard this for like the last few years, that our generation, the men that are men nowadays, our testosterone is way lower than it was like years ago. Our testosterone is way lower, and if you don't get enough sleep, your testosterone is getting shot. Like, it is done.
It's true.
Like, if you don't get enough sleep, you're aging quicker. Like, it's bad. Like, sleep is so important. Yeah. And I noticed when I took sleep, like, I remember I watched a podcast about sleep, and I took it serious. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed at a certain time.
Y'all gonna make me go home. That gonna make me go to bed tonight. Before I go to bed, I'm gonna go watch my documentaries on sleep. But I ain't gonna lie.
It's so good. I'm gonna say, like, so, like, I was going to sleep at a certain time. I wasn't eating. You're not supposed to eat like
before you
go to sleep. That because your body gonna be working, taking all that energy from your sleep and then digesting food. So like when I was locking in on my sleep, when I woke up, I wasn't groggy. I remember it was like night and day. When I took my sleep serious, after I closed like all my blinds, turned all the lights out, it was pitch black. And I remember waking up, and I was able to just get up right out of bed. Like it was like I could just get up, and I'm moving, like just right off the bed. Usually when people get up, like look at their phone,
a couple extra minutes,
check what time it is.
Yep.
They lay there,
Hit that snooze button a couple of times.
Some of this.
Sound like me this morning.
When you really lock in, get the quality sleep,
Straight up.
you just be able to just.
It's time to get up.
Time to go.
Sometimes when you get that quality sleep, you wake up about 5 minutes before that alarm clock
Yep.
wakes you up.
Feeling good too.
You wake up and be like, oh shit, but your body would say you got what you need, and you get up and you can. I've experienced that too. So I am a morning person. So I am a morning person. The only time I'm not a morning person is when I'm not prepared to get up.
Yeah.
Most of the time I prepare myself to be up, prepare myself for what needs to be done, and I enjoy being up in the morning, starting the day early, and then
preparation.
yeah, you know. So that's that. But it's been plenty of times I went to sleep, man, and I went to sleep at a good time. I rested real well. Got up the next morning, maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the alarm sound, and I was like, okay, let's get it going. Let's do what we need to do. I think that, and we talk about evolution. I think that we some things we've allowed to change in our culture, and it has. I don't want to say this. It greatly has impacted us. And so what I mean by that is that 20 years ago, probably not even 20, maybe 20. I don't know,
I think more or less.
Maybe more, but I'm gonna just say 20. 20 years ago, families sat at the dinner table together.
Oh man!
And then after you ate your dinner, y'all all cleaned up, whoever cleaned up, and then it was time to get ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
Everybody was turning in.
Yeah.
And that was a normal thing. That was just kind of
that was a norm in our house.
Yeah, and that allowed you to be able to get up in the morning.
Yeah,
and be okay. But today we're in a society where we're in a time where, you eat dinner whenever you eat dinner, and you eat dinner wherever with whoever you eat dinner with, and sometimes dinner can carry on to your bed.
Yeah,
man.
And you wake up the next morning with that dinner.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
We don't live right these days.
We don't. If we're being honest about it,
we don't even have dinner tables.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't, because the expectations out there for families to eat together.
Yeah.
So we don't have dinner tables.
Yeah.
We don't.
It's a lot of houses that I see that people have dining rooms, but it's never used. The dining room is like, I don't know how it is in everybody's household, but I know in our household, our living room area, we had carpet in there for a long time, and so we just didn't go in there a whole lot because we didn't want to mess the carpet up and the furniture and stuff. But the times that we did go in there was like for holidays and specific occasions where we was in the living room, but our dining room table was used every night. Like we sat at the table and we ate at the dining room table, and now
and there wasn't no TV there.
No, not at all. There was no such thing as TV. Everybody had to come downstairs, eat dinner, and there was no TV anywhere in the dining room or in the living room at all. It was conversation was happening at the table. And it was important because, that's a time for, parents, if they didn't been at work all day, for them to sit down with their kids and with their spouse and talk about what happened in the day. It might be some problems, like some real stuff that's going on that your parents or your spouse or whoever need to know about. And a lot of things, we can talk all day about things that can get solved through a healthy conversation. And the dinner table conversation is like the best place.
Can I piggyback off that?
Yeah.
Even outside of like technology taking away from people You go watch YouTube instead of talking to your family and eat, and you go to your room, watch YouTube or watch a movie, whatever. Even I would say, even like the evolution of the workforce, like jobs, like we have to work more nowadays to get money to put food on the table now than years ago. You was able to do a certain amount of hours and have a certain amount of money and be able to have food on the table. Now you gotta do work overtime. So some parents, they can't be home to be at the dining room table because they got to get that extra money for their family.
Yeah.
So even that evolution, even outside of like technology taken away, it's like also how the structure of society when it comes to work affected how people or how families are not able to come together and be able to have those family dynamics anymore. So there's so much different things. Going like that changed in the last 30 years, 40 years that made it so the family dynamic going. There's a lot of gain. Yeah, you can I can meet people online. I can get there's more jobs in terms of online jobs. You can it's just there's so much advancement happening, but it comes with a cost. It comes with a cost. So there's a lot of adjustment now. Who knows? Maybe in the next 30 years, it starts to balance out. Who knows? Time will tell. Or it gets worse. Or it just the kids nowadays when they get older, it's nothing to them. They just they're talking about. Oh, I miss it when you was able to just talk online to people. It was simpler. And then maybe not in 30 years in the future. They're able to teleport somewhere. I don't know. It's just gonna be
you never know with technology. I don't think anything is so far from people's mind. I had a 17-year-old guy that got in my car today and told me that.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay. He started to tell me that it was hard, and I was just like, man, I didn't think about the fact that it's actually hard out here for the younger generation, for real. They got real stuff that's going on. He was like, because he made a joke, he was like, man, you ain't just want a regular door? And I didn't know what he was talking about. He was trying to open my door to get in my car. And I laughed, and then he was like, he's like, what is this your first car? Or because I'm young. So he was like, is this your first car? Or what? I was like, no, this ain't my first car. He was like, man, what's a good first car? Because I'm, and I got to talk about how old I was. He was like, 25? I'm 17. And he just was talking about all of these different things going on in his life. And it's just, what I'm really trying to say is evolution will put you in a place as time goes on. It puts you in a place you are so focused on what you have going on, what your family may have going on, that you forget that other people going through, in the younger generation specifically, we think that things ain't hard for them because somebody is quote unquote doing for them, or they don't have to do so many things on their own. They have help. Right. But a lot of them don't have help like that. They're not learning things that when you were their age, I knew that. I knew how to do that. But they don't, because it's somebody that's just not teaching them at all, because it's something else. Like you were saying, somebody probably working a job all day. They work in the graveyard shift, so they don't see their mama till the morning. And what's happening in the morning? They going to school.
But that goes into a whole nother conversation.
That's what I was gonna say. Let's do closing statements on some of the things we just said. What are some last thoughts that we each want to share?
Honestly, I'll keep it simple.
I
feel like
that's what he was saying.
I was gonna say that goes into a whole other conversation about the family dynamic and how much of a toll that it's taking within the past several decades. Yeah. So that and then you couple that with what we deal with the evolution of technology and things of that nature. It's they say history repeats itself, and I feel like that's all this is.
That's all that's happening,
because the same things that you say that he's dealt with. I remember my mom telling me that she was dealing with the same thing when she was around that age as well. Right. So now it's just more technology. It's just more technology now, and things are more convenient for people who can handle it. But people who are struggling, you know what I'm saying? It makes it even less convenient for them, because it's they so behind.
They already behind.
They're already behind. So it's like,
that makes sense.
It's hard. It's hard for them to kind of cope with everything that's going on.
That's so true.
What do you think, James? What's your last thoughts?
My last thoughts. It's just crazy, you know, seeing how much like the evolution of just human beings change, you know, and it's just been crazy to experience because especially because when I was born, and even maybe a little bit of you, like the time we were born, we're born right when the change happened. You know what I mean? We grew up through the change.
Yep.
Like, so we experienced all these different changes, all the different phones, like all the different game systems, all the different FaceTimes, and like how, like we experienced it all.
Yeah.
The big shift. So being able to experience the old stuff and the new stuff and be like, wow, look at all this stuff that happened in my lifetime. It's just very interesting to see, you know, how much of an impact it impacted even on my life, and now how it's impacting on people who are younger than us. So it's a blessing, but also it comes at a cost, you know. Sometimes. So it's just interesting thing.
Yeah. I would say for me, my final thoughts is like after having this conversation, I feel like that there's a lot of values and things that I got when I was younger that I've kind of stepped away from and didn't realize how important that they were some time ago. Like sitting down at the dinner table and, you know, being able to, most things in my life get resolved through a conversation. It don't always take conflict or crazy experiences to happen for me to understand what's going on.
Right.
Usually I can just talk to somebody and it'd be like, wow, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to this now because I know that's going on. And I just kind of want to get back in that routine of allowing a lot of those values to really hit home and to be a centerpiece. So things like, you know, making sure I'm getting enough sleep, you know what I'm saying, in my body, and so I can just be able to do and think. Like, every times I just feel like I can't think. And the reason why is because my brain is just working hard, doing so many things that it shouldn't have to if I would just sleep better, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, making sure that family dynamics are there, because I got a household technically full of people that we, in the last month since, you know, James has been here, I know for a fact, like, things have just been very, very family oriented. There's just so many things to expound on now thinking about the conversation that we had. So great. Evolution is great, but like James said, just come with it comes.
My final thoughts is, it is so important to embrace change and embrace evolution, but just as much as it's important to embrace evolution, it is also important to embrace tradition.
Yeah.
Because tradition speaks to a principle, a set value. Yeah. And when everything else changes, you can always still stand on that principle.
Yeah.
And there ought to be some things that just don't change.
Man, I agree with that.
And what our generations struggle with is we like to, and this is gonna be another episode, we like to defund and get rid of and cancel everything that hurts our feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good.
And some things ought not to be changed. Some things just ought to be renewed or evolved.
Yeah.
And even in that evolution, there still should be certain principles that just don't change.
Yeah.
You know. And that's the thing about principles. Principles don't change.
They don't.
No matter what.
Principle.
It's a principle. Gravity is a principle. So no matter what,
Gravity
is going to be here. It's going to be what it is. It's not going to change. And those are my final thoughts. Is embrace the change, but also have something that's going to ground you.
Yeah.
Hey, great episode. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. This is Impossible Truths.
Yep.
And we want you to get the truth, man. We want to make it possible for you. So we'll catch y'all next episode.
Peace and love,
Peace and love, y'all.
Peace and love.